What is up, guys? Welcome back to another Salt and Pauper Saturday video, and today we went to the source. What better to beat the game than the game itself? We went to AI and asked it what the best deck for Pauper is, and let's see how it goes. All right, here we go. We are using Perplexity AI because ChatGPT is down right now, unfortunately. But let's see what we get. Generate an original Pauper MTG deck list to beat the current metagame. 6:30, 23. It's a Boros aggro deck. Utilizes cheap creatures. Let's try a different original Pauper deck. Blue tempo deck. Spell Starter's Rite is a spell now. Okay. Generate an up-to-date competitive Pauper deck. Unique and original concept. Competitive Pauper deck. Metagame 6:30, 23. Based on the current Pauper metagame as of 6:30, an original concept competitive Pauper deck that could be used is a Golgari Dredge deck. Fill the graveyard with creatures and bring them back to the battlefield. Stinkweed Imp, Brownscale, Satyr Wayfinder, Gurmag Angler, Putrid Imp, Grapple with the Past, Grizzly Savage, Dark Blast, Unearth, Commune with the Gods. Deck strategies to fill the graveyard with creatures. Once the graveyard is full, the deck can bring the creatures back using Unearth and other spells. Sure. Also includes removal spells like Dark Blast, deal with opposing creatures. Sideboard can be adjusted to fit the current metagame, but it should include cards like Nihil Spellbomb and Crypt Incursion to deal with graveyard hate. Okay, let's give it a try. Oh. I think I found a problem. Dark Blast is not legal in the Pauper format. Please suggest a different card. Gnaw to the Bone. Okay, I guess we're running Gnaw to the Bone instead. All right, guys. So as promised, we have 4 Ash Barrens, 4 Golgari Rot Farms, 4 Jungle Hollows, and Swamps. We are playing a Golgari Graveyard / Dredge deck as supplied by our AI overlords. So let's jump into the deck tech. To start it off, we have a full playset of Putrid Imp. This is a 1/1 4/1 that allows us to discard a card to give it flying until end of turn, but if we have Threshold, it is a 2/2 and can't block. This allows us to fill up our graveyards with extra cards, extra land, and get some evasion in the process, but it is just a 1/1 for 1, so a little worrying there. Next, we have Unearth. Now, Unearth is going to allow us to get a target creature card back from the graveyard, which is great. This card is fantastic. Big fan of this, but let's take a look at what we have to get back. We, of course, have our Putrid Imps. We also have our Satyr Wayfinders on 2, and we have our Stinkweed Imps and our Golgari Brown Scales on 3. Now, obviously, Golgari Brown Scale, an absolute staple of decks like this, commonly combined with Tortured Existence. You'll see none of that here, but more on that later. Next up, we have a full set of Commune with the Gods. This allows us to look at the top 5, put a creature card from among them into our hand. No enchantments here, just creatures, and the rest go into the graveyard. This is going to help us fuel that threshold. It's also going to put our creatures in the graveyard for dredge. Grapple with the Past is going to fill a similar role here. It allows us to mill 3 cards, then return a creature or land from the graveyard to our hand. This is going to smooth out our draws. Satyr Wayfinder, very similar. Enters the battlefield, reveal the top 4, put a land card into our hand, and the rest go into the graveyard. And then Grisly Salvage reveals the top 5. You can put a creature or land from among them into your hand, and the rest into your graveyard. All of these cards are designed as 1-for-1 card selection, but sending the cards to the graveyard allows us to fill our yard very, very quickly to fill a couple of our life gain cards, namely Gnaw to the Bone. This allows us to gain 2 life for each creature in our graveyard. It's an instant for 3 mana and has flashback 3. This card is going to gain a substantial amount of life in this deck, I think. And next up we have Stinkweed Imp. This is a card that whenever it deals combat damage to a creature, you destroy that creature. It is a flying 1/2 for 3, and it has Dredge 5. This is the biggest dredge in the deck. It's going to allow us to fill our graveyard quite quickly. Golgari Brown Scale, as I mentioned before, 3 mana, 2/3. When it's put into your hand from your graveyard, you gain 2 life, and it has Dredge 2. Now, typically this is combined with Tortured Existence to loop 2 brown scales together to gain a bunch of life. None of that here. We are getting this back the old-fashioned way with that Dredge 2 and gaining life the slow and painful way if needed. And then last but not least, we have a full playset of Gurmag Anglers to top it off. This is our main payoff to this deck. It's also what we're most likely to be getting with Grapples to the Past and Grisly Salvages and things of that nature, because we want to be slamming these down early and often. Unfortunately, it is the creature we can't get back with Unearth, but otherwise, fairly stable start. Not super excited about the lack of Tortured Existence. Also not super excited about the lack of true removal here. We do have a little bit of Destroy with Stinkweed Imp, but not having any cast down, snuff outs, anything like that's really going to hurt us here, I think. Next up, as seen, we were highly suggested, and that's kind of the rule. We have to do what it suggests to play both Nihil Spellbomb and Crypt Incursion. Now, these are cards that do the same thing, or very similar things. Nihil Spellbomb is going to allow us to exile target player's graveyard, pay a black, draw a card. Crypt Incursion is also going to exile all creatures from target player's graveyard, and you gain 3 life. and you gain 3 life for each creature exiled this way. Now, both of these cards were suggested for the AI list in terms of sideboard, as well as Gnaw to the Bone suggested for the main board in place of Dark Blast, which was the original suggestion, but is not legal in Pauper. Now, all of these cards have to do with the graveyard. Very, very heavy on graveyard synergies here, hoping not to run into too many Relic of Progenituses or opposing Nihil Spellbombs here. Last but not least, to finish it off, we have 4 Rancid Earths and 3 Crypt Rats. Now, these cards were not mentioned by the bot. They left 7 cards open to interpretation for local meta in the sideboard. I've added 4 Rancid Earths here. I feel the threshold is going to be triggered quite often, and it will be relevant to be able to ping the opponent's board while also destroying a land. This is going to give us a little bit of insurance against things like Goblin tokens from Kuldotha Rebirth, as well as Tron by destroying lands. And then Crypt Rats, similar to the 1 damage from Rancid Earth, is going to help us stabilizing against Goblin tokens, as well as other go-wide strategies. So that's why those 2 are included here. Those are really the only 2 cards I had any say over on this deck list. Without further ado, guys, I am issuing a challenge. If you can manage to positive record a league that is a 3-2 or better with this list, I will send you a special surprise. Tag me on Twitter or shoot me the proof on Instagram. Really don't think we have much to worry about in terms of AI deck building yet. This deck is very shaky at best. Originally not even including a forest in the main for these Ash Barrens to fetch was a huge oversight from the AI gods. I will say these 4 of Gnaw to the Bone play much better in practice than you think. If you would like to see me try to grind out a league and play until we win a match with this deck, let me know in the comments down below, guys. And don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. We're going to be coming at you with more brewing and wacky Pauper antics coming in future weeks, as well as a couple of deck building challenges. So to jump off with those, down below, shoot me your Moxfield links or anything with any of your weird or wacky homebrews that you've had success with in the past, and maybe I'll give them a shot online. So thank you so much, guys. As usual, goodbye forever unless I see you next time. Peace.
Up.